Okay, this is our Algebra 1, test 1 through 60 review. We're going to try to cover as much of this as we possibly can. So just going straight down through here, it says evaluate the expression below for A equals 3 and B equals 4. Give your answer in fraction form. There should be no spaces. All right, so what's the first thing I want to do with this? Anybody? Substitution. Okay, so substitute in, what am I subbing in for A? So 3, I got 3 to the negative 4th, and what do I have for B? 4 to the 0 power, right? And what is anything to the 0 power? No, test it, test it. What is 4 to the 0 power? 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. In fact, I didn't even need to plug in 4b to know that the answer was going to be 1. Even if it's a variable to the 0 power, my answer is 1. Doesn't matter how big the number is or how small it is. Doesn't matter how many variables are attached to it. Okay? If I'm taking something to the 0 power, it's going to be equal to 1, which means, is it going to change the value of it at all? No. Okay? So really, I can take this and just erase it because it doesn't change anything, right? Now, notice I have 3 to the negative 4th, and my answer says give your answer in fraction form. Okay, so can I leave it like this? What do I need to do? What's that? Simplify. Okay, that's really good terminology. It doesn't say anything. What do you mean by simplify? How do I get that to be a positive exponent? Put the 1 as a numerator in the fraction. Okay, good. Now what? Where do I put 3 to the 4th power? Good. 3 to the 4th goes into the denominator, so I've got at least one person. Okay, am I done yet, or can I simplify that statement? By doing what? Multiplying 3 by itself 4 times. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 is 81. So I'm getting 1 over 81. I'm going to write it like that. Okay? And my bet is that, yep, the correct answer is 1 over 81. Okay, so are we writing these things down as we go? I'm not even going to look at which questions were missed the most, just because we did so terribly on this test. I'm going to assume that everything was really bad. Okay? All right. Let's drop down to question number 2. Simplify. All right, big deal here is understanding rules of exponents. Okay? What am I going to do with these exponents here? Am I adding them? No, I'm doing what? Multiplying them, because I have the power rule of exponents. So I'm getting 2 times 2, negative 4 times 2, negative 3 times 3, 4 times 3, correct? Okay? Okay, so I'm getting m to the what? 4th into the negative 8th times m to the negative 9th, okay, into the 12th. But notice I am multiplying these sets, and for really fact, I have all multiplication across here, right? So what do I do with exponents here? I add them. Okay, but which ones do I add? M's to M's and N's to N's, right? Okay, so my M is what? What is 4 plus negative 9? Negative 5. Okay, what is negative 8 plus 12? 4. Okay, and again, we want positive exponents, right? How do I get all of my exponents to be positive? Put it in, okay, so if it's negative, put it in the opposite position. What's the opposite position? What are you referring to? Numerator, denominator, so move it into the opposite. So if we have this like this, what moves? M to the fifth moves down. So my answer, what happens to the n? Does it stay where it's at or does it go? Stay, so I get into the fourth over what? M to the fifth. Okay? Do I see that as an option anywhere? Okay. N to the fourth over M to the fifth. And if we look, N to the fourth over M to the fifth is the answer. Are we seeing where we made mistakes at? Hopefully. Okay, this graph shows how much money is in Tara's bank account at different times. We want to find the slope of the line. Just the slope of the line. We don't need a y-intercept, we just need a slope. How do I find slope? What's the equation? Rise over run. Okay, yeah, slope is rise over run. But if I'm given two sets of coordinates, what's the equation? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, good. What is y2? 2,500, okay. And y1 would be what? 750. Okay, what is x2? What is it? 26. Minus what? Minus 6. Okay, what's 2,500 minus 750? 1,750. Okay, and what's 26 minus 6? 20. Okay, can we simplify 1750 divided by 20? Okay, what do you get as a fraction? Because keep in mind it's slope, so we want it left as a fraction. What do you get? 175 over 2. I know that's hard to read against that, but 175 over 2 is our answer. They would also take, looks like they're taking 87.5. I want to see, because if you take that, I think you'll see. The graph shows how much money is left in Tara's bank account at different times. Find the slope of the line. So here you're seeing what kind of answer we want to see there. So honestly though, if you had typed in the fraction, I would have given you credit for that, okay? Because all it asked for was the slope. It did not ask for the dollar amount. Do you understand? That's why I'm going to try to be reasonable with you and work with you on that. Does that make sense? Okay, but just so you see what kind of answer is being expected there. Okay? All right, so this is 3A. Okay, question 3B says explain what the slope from 5A means using complete sentences. Okay, well, if we're looking at this, let's see, that our amount, the graph shows how much money in Tara's bank account she has at different times. So what this graph is showing me, I'm not writing this sentence out, but that she, and I wish there was, I don't know if this is in weeks or months or whatever, but this is showing that Tara she's depositing a regular amount of money over time into her bank account. Okay? In fact, it looks like she is adding $87.50 to her bank account, you know, every 2 weeks, I think is what we could say, because wasn't it, or sorry, it was 175 over 2, right? So we would say that she's adding $175 every 2, whatever this time period is, because it's going up 175 over 2. Does that make sense? That's what that slope is telling me. It's telling me how much money she's adding into her bank account over what period of time. Does that make sense? Do we understand what kind of sentence we're looking for there? Is there any confusion, or do I need to slow down and repeat my answer there? Okay, it shows that she is adding, I would say, with the $87.50, I think that's breaking it down to every week. I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is weeks down here. It could be months. I don't really care what unit you use. Now, if it's more specific on the test or shows you, then use that units. Okay? Maybe easier to say, month or whatever. Okay, so that's our 3B. Okay, keep in mind you're going to need to write a sentence. Okay? Percent change on 4A. Find a percent change from 260 to 40. Round your answer to the nearest tenth if necessary. How do I find percent change? Somebody know what the formula is? New minus original over original. Okay? What is the new here? 40. What is the original? Okay, so 40 minus 260 over 260. Is this going to be a increase or decrease? Decrease. Okay. Let's see what you guys got. Yeah, and really on this part, it's just asking for percent change. So it's not asking for a negative 84.6, because if you'll notice in the very next question, it's going to say, is this increase or decrease? So is it my job to put a negative in here? No. So I'm just making you aware of this. Do not put a negative there. It's just asking for change. Change can be increase or decrease. So we're making a note there. Okay. Now, do we get 84.6, or let's see, we got 40 minus 260 divided by 260. Yeah, I'm getting that negative 84.6, but I'm not putting that negative in this part of the question. Does that make sense? Okay, and of course we see decrease as my answer here. Okay. 5A, what is the slope of the line that passes through 10, 4, and 1, 7? Is this any different than the question we solved up there on the graph? No, it's still y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, anybody, now that we know what that equation is, can anybody tell me what I'm going to put on the top row? Somebody who's not Reagan, because she pretty well handled that entire question for you. 7? 7 minus 4, good. 1 minus 10. Okay, 7 minus 4 is 3. 1 minus 10 is negative 9. Can I simplify this at all? 1, negative 3. And do we ever want the negative to go with the denominator? We either want it to go out front or we want it to go with the numerator. Okay, so that's what you're going to type in, negative 1 divided by 3. Okay? Questions about that? So you've seen 2 questions so far where you're going to need to use that slope formula. That means to me that that's something I want to study quite a bit before Tuesday. Okay? Okay, let's look at 5B. What is the y-intercept of the line that passes through 10, 4, and 1, 7? On your paper, write the equation in slope-intercept form. Now it says do 11A first. What is 11A? You might, I think what it means is 5A. I think this means do 5A first. Okay, because we already know the slope is negative 1/3, right? Yes? So what equation do I want to use with that negative 1/3 slope? We know what equation we can use? What's that? Not quite. He said y equals negative 1/3 x. That's not going to be enough because notice what it's asking. It wants to know what is the y-intercept. Okay, so I'm going to guess that we've forgotten this. Okay, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Is this something that we've learned? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to pick one of these coordinates, say like 1, 7, okay, where 1 is x and 7 is y, right? So I can type in y minus 7 equals negative 1/3 x minus 1. Does everybody know why I put those numbers in the way that I did? Okay, I substitute 7 in for y1. I substitute 1 in for x1. I subbed in negative 1/3 for my slope. Okay, now we can distribute that negative 1/3 and get y minus 7 equals negative 1/3 x plus 1/3. You with me? Okay, now we're going to add 7, but the problem is that 7 and 1/3 over here do not have the same denominator. I would have to multiply 7 by 3. Okay, what is 7 times 3? Right, so that would be the same as 21 over 3. Does that make sense so far? 21/3 is the same as adding 7, correct? Okay, so I get y equals negative 1/3 x, but now I have 1/3 plus 21/3. That's going to be what? Plus 22/3. Now, you can write that differently if you want. Okay, we could what? Make that maybe just 7 and 1/3. Okay. Okay, that's going to be same thing. All right, so do we have this work written up here somewhere? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Okay, and let's see what our answer should be. Negative, hold on, did I mess something up here? Because they got negative 22 over 3 or negative 7 and 1/3. I'm still pretty sure it's positive. Let me pause our video here for a second. Yeah, so clarified, and that should definitely be a positive 7 and 1/3 or positive 22/3. Okay. 6 says we want to use the arrow key to denote something as an exponent here. What's nice about this question is that because of this plus here, I'm not distributing a negative, so I don't have any really place to make a mistake. So I'm just adding like terms, right? What's 6d cubed plus 9d cubed? What's 6 plus 9? So 15, I'm going to do caret. Oh, I'm sorry, not caret, not here anyway. 15d caret 3. Does that make sense? Okay, so that takes care of 6 and 9. Okay, now I have 7 minus 11, right? Because those are like terms. What's 7 minus 11? Negative 4 minus 4d. And there's no caret symbol needed there, right? Okay, so that takes care of this and this. And then I have 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay, so I should get 15d cubed minus 4d plus 5. Let's check and see. 15d cubed minus 4d plus 5. Okay, let's come down to 7. Solve the system. You can use any method. You can get graph paper if you need it. Enter ordered pair solutions with no spaces. So what I am looking for is something that's going to fit in here like this, your x value and your y value in a coordinate pair. Okay. How do you guys want to try to solve this? Do you want to use substitution like what we've done? Or do you want to use something else? We can use elimination. Substitution. Substitution. So in substitution, what I need to do is I need to solve one of these for a variable. It's probably easiest to add x over here, right? So that's going to give you y equals x minus 3. The only reason I did that for you is because with shortness of time, right, we want to get through as much as we can. So what do I need to do with that now? Plug it in for y on the other equation, right? So 3x plus 9 times x minus 3, right? Equals 9. What do you do now, Caden? Good. Good. Distribute the 9 is what he said. So we have, 3x. 3x plus what? 9x minus 27 equals 9. Now what? Add the x's. What do you get? 12x minus 27 equals 9. Now what are you going to do? Add the 27 to both sides. Okay. We got 12x equals what? Is that 36? Okay. Now what do you want to do? Divide by 12 on both sides. You get x equals what? 3. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to get 3 ready to go for that. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, and then finally, now that we know that x equals 3, what are we going to do? Okay, so we got negative 3 plus y equals negative 3. Add 3 to both sides, right? We get y equals what? 0. Okay, so my answer should be 3, 0. Okay. All right, so that should give you some place to start from. If I have time, I'll go through the rest of these questions this evening, but you guys have a test on Tuesday, okay? So you guys have your released test, your released review. Those of you that haven't taken a review, you guys have until Tuesday to get that done, okay? And you guys should get this video, and maybe we'll see about a part 2 to study from between now and then, okay? Yeah, you too. Give me a second.